Welcome back. This afternoon, Christy and I are live at the Manx Aviation and Military Museum at Ronalds Way.
And we're also live on Facebook, I believe. So, yes.
Give a quick wave.
Quick wave to anyone on Facebook. Hello there.
We didn't mention that to our next guest, but we'll tell him now. He may be familiar to listeners, I don't know. Tony Brown, former MHK for Castletown and, of course, former Chief Minister as well. But, Tony, you were the organiser of the Castletown Remembrance Poppy Appeal Concert. That's happening this Friday. And remembrance in Castletown is an incredibly important thing. I've seen poppies all over the signs. It's incredibly important here.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's important everywhere, but Castletown lost so many people. I mean, about 10% of eligible males who went to war were actually killed. So that's quite a high percentage when you think of it. And Castletown then was about 1,800 people. So it was a very small town, albeit it not long lost being capital. So I think there's still a lot of links there, and there's certainly lots of families who are descendants of those who either were killed or served in the First World War.
And where we are now in the Aviation and Military Museum is depicting some of the people who were lost from Castletown in the First World War, and there's just something so emotional about seeing these photographs.
Oh, there is, and we're very lucky really, because the board that's here of all the persons who were killed during the First World War, we also have one of the persons who were killed in the Second World War, which isn't on display up here, and they're held by the Castletown branch of the Royal British Legion. So the Poppy concert, which is organised by the branch of which I'm a member, and I head up, if you like, is to, one, bring awareness and remind people of the sacrifices that were made, and also to involve the community, especially the children, which we do, the children from Victoria Road Primary School. And we make sure that people are reminded of the sacrifices both in the First and Second World War, and of course subsequent conflicts. And it really is a good occasion to get people together just to mark the importance of what these people did for our society, and how in fact we've all benefited as a nation from those sacrifices.
And it's one of those things as well, you know, when you do come to particularly poignant commemorations this year, the 100 years, the centenary since the armistice, it tends to get people talking again and bringing out their stories. And I'm sure that you've been hearing some interesting stories since you've been putting all this together.
Oh yeah, I mean, every time you talk to people who have descendants who either were killed in the war or served in the war, whether it be the first or second, it's surprising some of the stories that come out. But of course, like everywhere, there's an awful lot they don't know, because the people who served didn't talk about it. It was quite a traumatic event, naturally, and when they came home, they came back to the island and really tried to settle into life as best they could. And it was very difficult. I mean, lots of people who served in the Second World War, for example, came back to the island. There were no jobs, so they left the island again, and that's why so many Manx people live across in either the United Kingdom or America or Australia, who actually would have liked to have come back and lived in the Isle of Man, but there was nothing for them. So they served in the war and then came back to nothing, basically. And, you know, we're very lucky that things have increased so well, and that the island is able to retain as many young people as the island wishes to retain, in terms that people want to stay here.
Tony, we're delighted that you could join us here this afternoon. I know you're going to stay with us into Alex's show as well, but we mentioned the concert. Just tell people when and where that's happening.
Right, well, the concert is at Victoria Road Primary School in the school hall, and it starts at 7:30. The doors open at 7 o'clock, and entertainment is provided by the Castletown Metropolitan Silver Band, who are basically joint organisers, and also the children from Victoria Road Primary School. And we display the photographs, actually, of the persons who were killed in the First World War on the back of the stage on a big screen, and that runs all the way through the concert. And the children are really marvellous. They have very short time to learn, because a lot of these children have started school for the first time in September, and they start to learn things about what this is, and they will then perform some of the things, either readings or singing or whatever it may be, and that's something we don't know till the night, because the school keep that to themselves. And we then have a raffle, and we have in fact we have two raffles, and we have other things to raise money. And people come along. The hall is pretty packed usually, so you can pay at the door. It's £2 to get in, and all the money that's raised on the night goes to the Poppy Appeal.
Wonderful. Tony Brown, for the moment, thank you very much. In just a few minutes, we're going to hear about the impact of the First World War on somewhere very close to where we are now.